My friend, hopefully you are doing great. So in this tutorial, in the lesson 20, I'm going to say you about the access modifier in Java. So basically, we have 4 access modifier level. So the first thing is about public. So let me introduce a little first, and then we will try to open the IDE and code. So by that way, you will understand more. And by the way, sorry for the background noise around if you hear anything else, okay? So the first level is the public. So as from its name, you can imagine that the public means you can access the class and its methods, its property from anywhere, from inside a class, from inside a package, in a subclass. That means a concurrent class where inherits that class, or the word that means in another package. And in the protected here, so that means it will be available in class itself in the same package or in each subclass, but it will be not available in another package. So just same package is okay. So the word here now is in another package. So null modifier, or sometimes we call it this something like the default modifier. So it's just available in the same class or in the same package. And private, it is just for your class, inside the class. So for example, you have some property and you put it as a private properties, and you don't want anyone else can access that private property. So you can imagine that the same package, that means in the same package you have many classes inside the package. So you can imagine that classes are like the family member, right? But it's because it's private for yourself, so you don't want anyone else to access your property. But if null modifier, so that means property that's something default, so you can share with your member in the family. But something protected will be allowed for your subclass. That means your children can use as well, but not all the people outside of your family or outside of your children here. But something public, that means you are willing to share with other people even it's not in your family, So by that way, you can imagine the way to remember, okay, just a way for you to remember. So now we will try to code for the private first. So you open the IDE, and then under the source folder here, you create a new package. Let me name it at lesson 20. So in the lesson 20 here, you create a new class. So for example, I want to create class with the name human, okay? So this class human, I will do something is very simple because I want to show a demonstration for the private access modifier. So let me declare something like private string name and another property with the name private integer and the age. So for example, a human has a name and an age here. So let's try to use the IDE generator here to generate something basic like I want to generate getter and setter for both property name and age, because you already knew what's the getter and the setter, so I don't want to type all of them again. So I just want to use some utility in the IDE, and then I can generate them. So I want to generate something like the constructor as well. So this case, I want to generate the constructor fully parameter for this human class. And I want to generate the default constructor. Okay, just one constructor human with string name and integer age is enough. Okay, so now, for example, here you can see in the private, that means you can access something in the same class here. So let me try to show a demonstration first. What does that mean, okay? So here, if I create a main method here, and then I call human human equal new human here, and I want to put the name like 8, and the age is now 20, for example. And then if I do something like human, and then I put 8, so you see here the property 8 is something private, but because this main method is the same in the same class with the human class, so that's why you can access directly the age property. So for example, in this case, I want to access something like human.age equal 21. And if I run and I try to print out the human.age now, so technically it will be 21, not 20 anymore. So try to run it and then you can see. So now you can see the age is now 21, not 20 anymore. And you can see even the age is private, but now because we are in the same class, so that's why we can access a private property. But what if I create a new class with the name test private here, and what I do that I gonna create a main method here, and I do the same thing, human with the instant human equal new human here, and the thing is now the seed, and the name is 21. But now if I want to try to do something like human.age, so you see it's not available from the IDE succession, but if I try to push myself something like 30 or something like that, you see that human.age is now not accessible anymore because the age property is private in this class human. So if we try to access that private property outside of the class, we cannot do that. So that means you can see here something private is just accessible inside the same class, and outside of the class, even in the same package or even in the subclass, so we cannot accept that property. So here I have just a demonstration that even we in the same package here, but outside of the class, we cannot access that property. But try to do something like, for example, if I have another class with the name is something like Superman. So I think Superman is something belong to the human, so that's why I'm gonna inherit the human from the Superman with the keyword extend. And in this case, I extend the human class here, and I will create a default method like the super class. So for example, I will put something like public void do something. So in the do something, okay, just typo. So in the method do something here, what I'm gonna do that I want to do something like super dot. So you see, if I dot something like 8, I'm not able to access the age, even I am extending the human class here, because the age property is now, in the private access modifier, so I cannot do it anyway. Okay, so if, for example, I do something like I put it to something like the null modifier here, that means I can access in the same class and in the same package here, but not in the subclass. So, for example, if I put something like the age right here, and then in the Superman, I try to access the age, you see, and then I put something 8 equal 30. Sorry. The 8 here equal 30 now. So that means I accept the age property here from the human, because human, the age is now not private anymore, but it is now default. It means no modifier. So in the subclass, it says something like null here, but actually we are in the same package. So that's why I can access the age directly like that. Okay, I will show you more demonstration when we talk about the null modifier here, because I don't want to get you confused. So try to get the conclusion for the private. So now you understand what the dash means, right? So private is something you can do something in just only in that class only. And if you access outside of the class, you cannot do it. Okay? So you cannot access something that's private outside of that class. Okay, so you got it? So now let me try to delete these methods to avoid some unexpected failure here in the code. So this is the private. So now we will talk about null modifier here. So something like default modifier. So something default modifier, for example, if I try to something like I remove the private here. I remove the private. So that means it will be something like default, null modifier. So as a null modifier, we can access the same class here and in the same package. So what means in the same package? So for example, if I do something here, I will test, I create a new thing like test, default access modifier, but let me put something short like test default modifier, okay? Default modifier. Here enter, and in this class I create a main method like before, and I will create a new instance from the class instance human, a new instance from human class equal new so the new human here with the name something like ABC again. I'm thinking we can put any name here. We don't think I don't think we need to put any special name like a real name or something like that, because it's not the main purpose here. So I can put something like 40 now, and here you can see if I do something like human dot the age, and I change to 45 now. So you can see the age, the human dot age is not private, but it's something default access modifier. So that's why in the default access modifier, so that means in the same package, you see in the same package, we can access it. We can access it. So human dot age. But if I try to create a new class outside of that package, okay? So I name something like test default modifier outside. So that means I created a class that outside of the package, and what I do, I create a main method here, and I do that human if the IDE doesn't support you to import automatically, you need to import the lesson 20. This is the package, and then this is the class name. That means you import the human class from the package lesson 20 here, okay? So human equal new human, and the name something like XYZ, and 50 at 8. So if now I do something like human.age, so you see, we cannot accept the age anymore because the age is default. You see, default access modifier, and as the default access modifier, we just accept in the same package or in the same class, in that class particularly. If you go outside of that package, we cannot access anymore. So this is the way we use the default access modifier, and you can understand, okay? So basically, you already learned about the encapsulation. So that means if you want to encapsulate something, you can use private. And if you want to share something in your bucket, you can put the default access modifier like this, but it's not a best practice when you put something like property and you don't have a private, so it's not follow the encapsulation principle in OOP, okay? So now, if you want to share something in the same package, I think you should use the protected here, because in the protected, if you allow you to access the property of the method in the same package or in the subclass, and it's now it's more clear when people read your code and they can understand that you are going to share that method or that property in the same package, and you are not going to allow people to access that method or property outside of the package. So it will be more clear for people. So in this case, you can use the protected, okay? So let me try to delete this line to avoid some unexpected failures in our code. So now I create a new one. Actually, I don't need to create a new one, but I put the keyword protected here. Protected string name and protected integer 8 to show a demonstration for you how the protected access modifier works. So in this case, we have the protected string name and protected integer 8. So I don't think I need to show you in details, because I already show you private null modifier, and then you can see now we can have something like access in the subclass. So that means you can access some protected methods or property in the concurrent class or the child class or the subclass here. So you can try yourself, right? But okay, let me try to do something like this is the human, right? And we have the Superman here. So if I try to do something like public here, and I try to public like adjust parent public void adjust parent age. That means I want to adjust the age in parent class. So what I do, I will do something like super.age equal. So I want to use something like integer new age. So here super.age equal new age, and then I will get I want to get the age from the parent, but I already have it, so I don't want to create a new method. So for example, I want to create a main method inside here quickly here, and what I do, I will do something like should be Superman equal new Superman here, and I will put something like the name like Batman, and should be something like 18 years old. And now I do something like Superman dot adjust parent age, and now I adjust to 20. Then after that, I want to print out the Superman dot get age. So you see the get age here is in the parent class. It's not in the Superman class, but because the Superman class is now inheriting from the human class, and then I can accept the get age. But the thing here that I created a new method with the name adjust parent age, and I try to adjust the super.age where the age had the protected keyword here to see whether I can adjust it like from the theory here. So you see what will happen if we run the main methods here. Okay, so try to run. So you see it's now 20. It's now 20. So if we come back here and then we delete the protected here, so that means we change to something default access modifier. So we run again, and then you can see we can see the same results here. So you can see here, the null modifier and the protected in the same package will have the same behavior. But if the subclass is outside of the package, we cannot do that. For example, if you put the supplement, it's not in the lesson 20 here, but outside of the package out there. So for example, I will create a new thing here, and then you can see now I change integer to default, right? And I want to show you that we cannot do that like we have just do in the supplement. So I create a new class in the lesson 19, and it is in the different package with the human class here. So I put it the name header. So in the header here, I will inherit from the human agent, and I will create the default constructor in the super class. And what I'm going to do that, I will do something like public void adjust the parent age again in this class. And what I'm going to do that, I want to change, for example, integer new age, and I want to do that something like super.age. You see, it's not available anymore because even the super.age is now default access modifier, but it is just allowed for anything, any class in the same package. If you move outside of another package, so you cannot use that property. We cannot access that property on the methods anymore, even it is a subclass. So you get the point now, right? So even the hero is now the subclass of the humans, but because the hero is now outside of the same package here, it's not like the Superman. So we cannot accept the default access modifier property or the method anymore. Okay, so let me try to delete this one to avoid unexpected failures in our code. So I want to just explain more for you about the default access modifier. So here you can see what it protected mean, and the final one that I think I don't want to explain for you more public. That's mean you can access in same class, in the same package, even in the subclass or in other packages. Okay, so you can try yourself this one, but I think we already have a lot of example around here. So basically we don't need to do anything else. So I think that's all about the access modifier in the Java and how to use it, so you can understand clearly 4 level of the access modifier in Java. So see you in the next tutorial. Okay, and bye for now.